Hey guys, welcome to Coaching with Chris. I'm pretty excited because we get to talk to Kyle Swiden. Kyle's worked with me from the very beginning. We kind of get to hear his journey. And I think a lot of times we learn through story. We learn through listening to someone else's story, listening to the true struggles, listening to some of the wins. And that's what makes us all better. Look, I know it's hard out there. And the number one thing that we're working on this full month is impactful. And what are we doing in the initial steps of being impactful with inside our business, with our realtor relationships, with our database? And I think truly that I know I say it all the time, but I think loan officers created a lot of bad habits. And when we created those bad habits, it got us concentrating on the result too much and not enough on the activity. So Kyle, welcome to Coaching with Chris.
Hey, thanks, Chris. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. So look, we started in this very beginning, like getting a little bit of the picture of how you started. But number one, you have been a loan officer for me for how
long? It'll be a little over 12 years now.
So 12 years. I thought it was 10.
So flown by.
Well, yeah. So I watched, and you were how old when you started?
25.
So you're 25 years old. You were coming from Wells Fargo?
Yeah, I was at Wells Fargo for 7 months doing FHA refinances, kind of calling furniture cards and getting them to refi off of it. So I was there for 7 months. They shut the department down and wanted to stay in mortgage.
Cool. So you interview, you guys. This is kind of a little bit of story. Kyle interviews. He's a golfer that was attractive to me, a good personality. I hired 2 kids. I actually betted it. We had an in-office bet at the time. I bet against him. And I bet the other that the other kid would make it. The other kid didn't make it a year. And Kyle was he was just the loan officer that grinded. So now you started, right? What was going through that emotions? It wasn't like rates were amazing then. What year was that again?
2011.
Yeah. So
yeah,
2011. They were okay. And you start in the business. Well, give me something. Do you remember what you felt like when you first started? Like, what was some of the things that you were thinking about or watching or paying attention to?
Oh, crap. What am I going to do? A lot of it was fly by the seat of our pants. I mean, I always looked at Dawn V on what she did and really watched her and just wanted to be like her when I got into it for a while and replicate and do what other people did.
Yeah, I think that's a good key point, right? You found a loan officer, you watched their habits, and you studied that because you're like, that's the way I want my business designed. So, fast forwarding today, what'd you do in production last month?
Last month I did $5.5 million personal production. Our team did right at $9 million.
So you got a little team, got a couple juniors.
Yep.
So to kind of fast forward a little bit, that didn't happen overnight.
No, I'd say so. For our first 5 years, it was all 100% solo. We didn't have a team to help us at all. We did the 100% grind of taking the app, submitting, getting documents, putting them into the file, submitting it. When it came out of underwriting, we had to go get everything. To today, we have the team kind of help us do all the busy leg work, and we can focus on prospecting.
Yes. So when you think of building this team, the best part was you didn't do this overnight. And
correct.
And you started with what first? Like how much production did you have before you started with the team?
My first hire, I was doing right between 2.5 million and 3 million, 3.5 million a month. We were kind of always at that. Like it was impossible to get over 2.5 by myself because there's just not enough time in the day. You're pulled so thin on doing everything else that to take over that next hump was the first person we hired, which was Kaylee. She was a loan partner one for me on the front side. And she basically helped contact pre-qualified clients, take applications, and the biggest thing, submitting the files and get everything ordered on the front side.
So, like, if you're given to give advice to any of the loan officers, you're going to be giving the advice to anyone else. Like, look, get to a couple $1,000,000 before you ever start building a team around you. Would you say that that's true?
Yep,
So that's
absolutely.
the first goal. The second goal, then, what's this person going to do? Just kind of what you kind of laid out, what Kaylee did for you in the very beginning. And then that allowed you to free up a little bit more time. Did you actually, in the beginning, use that time to actually prospect, or did you waste that time?
A lot of it was wasted just because we didn't know exactly what to do. And even going into it, you had me write down like write 10 things that this person can help you with. That way, we kind of had a plan in place on what this person was going to do before you hire them. So that way, you're essentially drawing up a business plan with them. And just think out of some of the things that you can get off of your plate that are just kind of time suckers. That way you can focus on it. Well, then when you get that and you're training this person in, a lot of your time when you're training them in is teaching them how to do it. Is so it creates more work on the front side and you don't get to dedicate your time that you're thinking that you're going to get right day one because you have to get that person trained in and teach them the way that you want to have it done.
Yeah, so a question came up. I think this always comes up. So I have a few loan officers only in the state of South Dakota. We have 24% market share of the state. With our 16 LOs, we have a few juniors that are into that program as well. And so that's just South Dakota. Kyle is in Sioux Falls, and I believe your average loan amount is
I got like 280.
Oh, you're under 300. So
Yep, I'm
so
small.
you're at 280. So then the next question would be, you're averaging what? How many loans a month for you and your team?
Last month I personally did. It was right at 24.
And then your team brought in another.
We're about
So
35
35.
total.
Yep. So that kind of gets you a sense of a little bit. South Dakota is a grinding market because our loan sizes aren't that big. So I hope that answered your question. So look, we're going through this market. You're going through getting her trained. What you realized was you thought you're going to have a bunch of free time, but you actually had to work harder until you got her up to snuff on the 10 things that you wanted to take off your plate. How long did that take?
Probably at least 3 months, probably more realistically like 6 months to get everything trained in. And especially kind of how I did it was like one of the biggest things I wanted her to learn how to do was start applications and take a good application. So that way we could have that part done. So it was okay, we did the first page and then you move on to the second page and you just go a little bit farther every time we took an application. That way I taught her, okay, how to run underwrite or how to run DU on it. And we just kept going farther and farther and farther. And then you teach her how to import fees. So that way, when we got a purchase agreement in, she could set up the purchase agreement. So it was an ongoing, just a little bit farther every single time. So that way, I knew exactly how she was doing it. She was doing it the way that I was doing it. So we were both on the same page.
Now, look, I don't want anyone to get confused. Kyle doesn't use the team to close the loans. Kyle uses the team to be able to set the customer experience. So they're getting the app, they're getting the docs, they're getting either DU or LP run, and then that appointment is set for Kyle to go in for the close. But like all of the work is done so that Kyle can go in. He can pick the 3 best programs. He can pick. He knows exactly what he is doing. So whether it's a pre-qual appointment, whether it was a refi, whether it is a first-time home buyer that he knows is going to take a little bit extra time to be able to walk them through the process, Kyle's the closer. And I think so many times when we look at teams, don't you agree, Kyle, that people think, oh, well, I'm just going to take away all of these things and I'll just kind of be the guy that gets all the deals done.
Yeah, look, a lot of people try and do it where their teams is going to, they think the team's going to do all their prospecting for them. So that way they don't have to, for one, because a lot of people don't like making those phone calls. And then they want to have the team do the customer appointments on everything. So that way they think it's not really a waste of time, but it just pulls them aside from kind of the prospecting when like that customer appointment is one of the most important parts of it to set it up and make sure that they know who I am for it all.
Yeah. Yeah. So how often do you meet your team, and go through the goals, and then do they each have goals, or how do you hold them accountable?
Yeah, so we meet every single morning pretty
Okay.
much. We don't meet Thursday mornings anymore. And then we meet Friday afternoons to recap the week. But Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, we meet at 9 o'clock for our LP2
How long does
meeting,
that take?
and then half
Okay.
hour. So none of my meetings are ever over a half hour. If I am kind of a firm believer, whether it's team meeting, customer meeting, anything, if it's over a half hour, especially on that side, people get lost. And I don't have enough time in the day, so we got to keep it snappy. And if you get chit chatty during the team meetings, especially, you're wasting a lot of time. So our LP2 meeting's a half hour, our LP1 meeting's a half hour.
Okay. Okay. Then what your LP1, just for everybody, that would be more like what he explained as a Kaylee is doing a lot of the upfront stuff. And LP2 to many of you is a processor. So your LP1, you're talking about leads. Now I know you're really good at tracking leads. You use the old lead tracker, which is something that is part of our process. And so tell me, how you're working with the team and how you're using that lead tracker on the front.
Yep. So during our LP1, the front side meeting, we go through the leads. It kind of depends where we're at in the month, but right now, this week, we're going through our leads month to date every single morning, and we highlight on the tracker. If it's green, we have the application, or if it's yellow, the application's done. If it's white, we haven't converted it yet, and if it's red, it's a turn down or denial. So that way, every single week or every single day, we're going the leads that we got the prior day to make sure everything's followed up on it. We're going over the leads that we got from last week to make sure that nothing ever slips through the cracks. I get anxiety because I feel like if something slips through the cracks, it's a direct reflection on me. So I'm going to make sure that nothing ever slips through. So it's kind of micromanaging the leads, but it's just making sure that everything gets followed up on and people get good customer service.
I love that. So each team member is responsible for so many leads, and how many is that?
Yeah, so right now I have two LP1s, so we rotate on the lead tracker their name, so it goes Blake, Jake, all the way down. And I always try the lead the first couple times. For at least the very first phone call is always from me, and then they're responsible from following up on it from there. So we just divvy it up 50-50 on that side.
So how many leads are you getting a month now to be able to run two LP? So you're running two people on the front end, LP1s, and then I believe you got like a 1.5 processors on the back side. How many leads is that a month to be able to keep that?
Last month we had 97.
So 97.
So we're running tight on that side right now. This month we're at 45.
Okay.
For through today.
So you're 19 days in, you're at 45. You're not too far off. You'll probably hit 80 leads.
Yep, pretty close. I mean, that's about our ab. My goal is 80 per month.
Okay. And out of the 80, how much is, I know on your lead tracker, you're tracking where that lead comes from and you're tracking the success of the different areas. And by the way, if you want that lead tracker, just put it in the comments. We'll go ahead and we'll send you out Kyle's lead tracker so that you could implement that with inside your team. But I think knowing where your leads come from makes you a better leader and a better planner and a better LO. But where is the majority of your leads coming from today?
Realtor and past clients.
Okay.
So of the 97, 65 of them were from Realtor.
Wow. That's it. That's impressive. So a lot of pre-quals. What are you doing different with your pre-quals to get them to convert?
Just staying in touch. We have a really big goal on the first month somebody's pre-qualified. We follow up once a week. So the first month, our goal is to follow up weekly with them. The second month, we go bi-weekly, and then the third month, we go monthly for it. So it's just a lot of call and follow up with them, see if they have questions, running payments, see if there's anything out there that they like. That way, we're just running payments constantly. So it's just that way we're a lot more talking than emails or them trying to figure stuff out on their own or just wondering what if.
Yeah. No, I think that many of the people out there today in your pre-quals need to be pre-programmed. They need to be pre-programmed to what's going to happen to the market. And I know we talk about it. We will see videos on social media, but a one-on-one conversation is better than any video you could ever send them. Wouldn't you agree?
Yep, absolutely.
So we got a lead tracker. We follow through that. Now you're going to have a meeting with your processors, and you're going through each deal, where their milestones are, and you're making sure that each step is moving along. You pay attention to more of the milestone than you do the closing date, correct?
Yeah, we go off of closing date forward on how I have it set up. So we basically go through all of the most recent perks that are coming up first and just work our way down for the entire team. And it's just going through if Katie of my LP2 is having issues on getting documents, she'll let me know so then I can step in and make the phone call. If there's an appraisal issue, she lets me know. Or if there's a judgment that comes up on title, it's really just about a 1 minute talk on each file every single morning to stay in the loop that there's no issues.
Yep. Now, I know you do Tuesday updates, and you update every single buyer, the selling realtor, the listing realtor, and you go through the whole update every single Tuesday. Number one, by the way, that is the best time you can spend, because it eliminates tons of questions that come in throughout the week. But when do you get that completed throughout on Tuesday?
I have 2 different power hours scheduled on Tuesday right after we have coaching. So usually it's either from 10 to 12 or 11 to 12, depending on the week, and then from 1 to 3.
So, like, if you call me and my appraisal just came back, I'm 3 weeks away from closing or 2 weeks away from closing. What's that update going to look like when you call me?
So it'd really just be like, hey, Chris, it's Kyle from Plain Say. I just wanted to give you an update on your file process. We just got your appraisal in. We're sitting perfect on everything on that side. We got all your documents up front. It just came out of underwriting. So we're sitting absolutely perfect. So we're really at the hurry up and wait stage. And that way, do you have any questions on payment wise? I know we're still waiting for your homeowner's insurance. So that's one thing that we could still have a payment adjustment. Do you have any questions for me at all?
Right. So you're updating them, you're getting rid of the anxiety, because it gets a little quiet right there. And then they're like, I wonder if everything's okay. And then they think things, and then they all gets weird. And you're just eliminating all the way, and then pushing to get that homeowner's insurance, which seems to be the last thing everybody gets because it's delay of the insurance agent. Many people are asking, how many realtors, Kyle, are you working? Now, by the way, his 90 leads are coming from various different sources. So he gets referrals from current clients. He's getting past clients. He's getting business. He's getting a little bit of advertising, realtors, builders. Like, it's a whole mix. And the lead tracker will break that all apart for you. But how many realtors are you working to get to that 65 leads in a month? Which, by the way, he said that comes from database and realtors. So how many realtors are you working today?
So we just went through and kind of cleaned up our list a little bit. So I narrowed it down to about 32 to 34 on our list right now. And my goal is to build it back up to 40.
You're actually in a relationship with, you call and talk to once or twice a week, right? I mean, not like I want to be in a relationship realtor. These are real, true relationships.
Correct. Yep. And my goal by the end of the year is to add 8 more to get it back up to 40. So that way I'm just working that 40 list. And there's still some realtors that refer us that aren't on that list, but we kind of went through and voted some people off the island. Like, if I'm going through the list and I don't want to call them, they're off the list. Like, I want to have real conversations with them. I want to go hang out with them. They're my friends.
Right. And by the way, let's just not sugarcoat it. To have 33 realtors, to be in a relationship with them, is hard work, consistency, and most loan officers aren't willing to do the work to get to the 90 leads. So what would you tell me if I needed more realtor relationships? What would you tell me to encourage me to go do that?
Say go around to open houses. I mean, that's one way I'm trying to fill up that 8, because you can have a little talk to them if it's not very busy. And then you work with your existing agents to see who that they know, like, and trust that could be an up-and-comer.
So you use the triangle to be able to find another lead realtor.
Yep. Especially you can find out who some of the good ones are. And then when I first started too, and when we were back in probably 2016, 2017, I had 2 groups of 3 younger agents that I coached. And just kind of not really like coached directly on, but taught how to grow their business, work their database, and how to get more business for them. So that way I'm trying to get them more deals, which in turn pay it forward.
Yeah, I love that. Let's concentrate on database a little bit. What are you doing to get success from your database?
Just pounded the phones with it. My goal is to call 25 to 30 every single Thursday and just check in on them. We've been really
So you're
hitting the
not
5
selling
year
them on
reels.
anything. You're not looking at their rate.
Nope.
You're not looking at all that other stuff. You're just simply reaching out.
Yep. Simply reaching out, seeing how things are going with the house. I always tell them like, hey, we track everything. So I have a spreadsheet that has all their info, and I can sort it by rate when rates drop. That way we're taking care of when they drop in. But we're really going through right now on their 5 year real estate goals. Just because there aren't a lot of refis out there for it. So we're just focusing like, what's your next goal for housing? Like, when do you want to upgrade? Have you thought about that at all? Have you done any fixes? So that way we're noting it in their file. So that way next year, like, okay, they say they're 3 years out or they want to wait for rates to drop to buy, kind of go over the reasons why that's not necessarily always the smartest move for that part and explain the market and how things are. But it's just checking in. I'm always looking out for them and I want to learn more about them.
HomeBot. Does it work?
Yeah, everyone loves it. I mean, they just love the info that it gives for it, and being able to pay down, like if they pay an extra $100 per month, what it's going to save them. It's a cool little add-on, but it doesn't get like the money part of it all is calling and staying in touch with them.
Right. Do you sign your realtors up to be a partner on HomeBot with you?
Yep, I have I think 3 of them that are signed up.
Do they like it?
Yep. Yeah, and it's just a nice added touch for them. So it's a lot of them don't follow up always the best. So it's kind of just a nice branding tool for it all.
Yeah.
My big push with like a lot of the agents we're talking to right now is like, if you drive down the street, like in Sioux Falls, our main street's 41st Street. If you drive down 41st Street, how many advertisements do you see from realtors or lenders?
Right.
I mean, there's at least 6 to a dozen.
Right.
Everything in this world is designed to take your clients away from you.
Yes.
Everything out there. So you have to protect home base. And the best way to protect home base is to pick up the phone and talk to your past clients.
Be you.
Be you. Yep. And that's
why is that what so we focus on.
Yeah, and that's where I love that. Like, if you kind of open their eyes to it when you're like, everything is designed to steal your business away.
Now, one of the things that you're really good at as we kind of get to close here is that is you use our account pyramid, and not only do you use it, but you make sure your team sees it. Walk them through what the account pyramid is, and we can also share that if you would like that.
Yeah, so accounts pyramid, we go through at the end of every single year and pull our Encompass report on where our referral source is from. And it goes through, one, how many we close from each realtor. So at the top of the pyramid's our best referral sources. In the middle, it's there. And then the bottom is just the onesie twosies. And then the very bottom is the prospects that we're trying to work with. And it just lets the team see it where they know who we need to take care of and who the big focus is. So that way our number one agent's going to get Kate when she answers, the phone's getting called. Or if that person, we have 5 in our top pyramid. If any one of them called, that phone is getting answered no matter what. That way you're catering to everyone on there, but you really know who you need to focus on catering of.
Maybe a little extra.
And it lets you, yeah. And it lets you kind of know who you have coming up or if somebody's fallen off the wagon. Like, there was one of my agents that I work with, and she's phenomenal. And, like, she only sent us 1 deal in 2022. And we're like, gosh, that's weird. She sent us 7 the year before for closed loans. So, and I was actually able to get on and see she only did 3 purchases in 2022. So then it's like, okay, like, we need to get her back on the wagon and get her production back up. So it lets you kind of see differences in your business, where it's coming from and what's going on, and kind of metrics on where people are at.
Yeah, and I think that, just think of the account pyramid as a pyramid, right? And it starts with the most important, and it just keeps wider and wider and wider and all the way through. I think at one time you had that you had that like on your wall.
Yep, I had it drawn out on our marker board.
Yeah.
We have a publisher on the shared drive now, so that way everybody can see it. It's a little easier to manage, and I write like a kindergartner, so half the people couldn't read my handwriting anyway.
Look, here's what I love about Kyle. Kyle runs his business like a business, not by, well, let's just see if someone calls in today. Let's just see how this goes, or fly by the night. Like, this is a business. This is serious. He's a professional. What would you want every originator to know today that they need to do that will get them 5 to 10 more leads each month?
Trust the process. If you really looked at it back, I joined the Corps in 2016, was it? 16 or 17. And that's really when I took off. And I never missed a full greatness tracker for like 4 years. So it was calling all of our agents on Monday, staying in touch with them, just always being in front. And then the Tuesday updates, and then the database on Thursdays and the prequels on Wednesday. Like, we never missed a week on that. Like, had to do it no matter what, no ifs and buts about it. And so if we did the full, and I bet you for 4 years straight, I had 100% full greatness tracker, no lies on it. And that's really what the driving factor was for me. Like, if you truly 100% honestly do that greatness tracker every single week, it's going to change your life.
Well, it fills your calendar. It fills your lead tracker. It fills you with the true right account pyramid, which then fills you with closings, like 26 in a very tough market. I mean, it's still tough for you, correct? I mean, is this easy for you or tough for you?
No, it's tough. It's more competition. Everybody's trying to get deals for it. You kind of have to be the positive source. Like, I'm internal optimistic all the time. So I'm always happy-go-lucky, and there's a lot of people that are down out there right now. So I always want to make sure I'm happy and making sure that everyone around me is happy. And happy is attractive, and people want to be around that. So I want to make sure I'm over talking off the mountain about it.
Yeah. So look, the greatness tracker is its animal in itself. I know someone said you'd like to see it, and we'll surely share it. Reach out to one of your AEs. All of our AEs are in greatness tracker. All my loan officers have been in a greatness tracker. I mean, I think all my loan officers have been on a greatness tracker since pre you.
15,
14,
probably.
15. And I just got done coaching them here last hour, and I even have the roll up of everybody's greatness tracker. So you got your filled out one from last week. You could just quick snap on camera.
Here's my one for this week. I already sent in that one. So it just on the top, it's face to face. As I recap that at the end of the week for my appointments, and the same with the break breads. And then I track my phone calls as we go down here, write their last name in, and then it's events, videos, thank you cards, leads, and then apps and pre-quals and pre-apps. And
what's the hardest section for you?
Thank yous. I suck at writing thank yous. That's my one thing I absolutely know I have to work on, and being more appreciative. That's 100% my probably biggest fault, is I need to be more appreciative on it all.
Yeah. Yep. Listen, Kyle, I love your journey. I love your story. Congratulations on your success. You're killing it. I know it's not easy. I know it's a battle. But look, the Corps was the one company that probably changed my life back, I don't know, 11 or 12 years ago. And I know it was a big impact on Kyle as well. And it can be a big impact on you. I'd love to share with you guys all of those tactics. And I know Kyle is more than willing to be able to take a 30-minute call and be able to walk you through a few of those things. One thing about Windsor is we're trying to make a difference. It's tough out there. You need a few things. We need a success story. We need someone to chase so we can get us through these pieces. But the number one thing I want you to think about is, do you believe in yourself? Do you believe in your process? Do you believe what you're providing to your customers, that you are truly the best? Because if you believe, it will come out that way and you will make a difference. Thanks, Kyle. Thanks for jumping on Coaching with Chris.
Yep. Thank you.